Welcome to Phoenix 76 Tech Talk. Hi, I am Michelle, and here along with me is Erica, Shaquana, and Dr. Maxine Kane. Dr. Maxine Kane, we are partnering with your organization to speak about AI and the future possibilities for women of color. Can you give us a little background about your organization and name?
Thank you. Absolutely. So, I am Dr. Maxine Kane, and I'm the founder and president of STEM Atlanta Women. We are a nonprofit organization for women and girls, and we focus on enhancing and increasing the talent pipeline for women and girls in STEM, more specifically Black and Brown girls in underserved and underrepresented communities. And so, I'm delighted to be here to talk about what's on our radar screen for 2024. And we are very passionate and we're very focused on increasing the representation of Black women in artificial intelligence.
Yes, and you brought up a great point. Matter of fact, in our current class of Phoenix 76, we were just speaking about AI technology. Can you double click or go into details about why is it so important that people of color participate in this space?
Wow, that is such an important question. So, right now, when you think about what's happening in the world today, artificial intelligence is what I call a technological shift that's happening where we are moving away from a world that we won't ever see again. Because right now, artificial intelligence is the future. Excuse me. It's a future. And so, I was telling the ladies earlier that probably a couple of years ago, um, 91% of men were taking up the space in the industry, right? And only 9% women. And when you think about that as a whole, when I say 9%, that's everybody, all in, black, white, purple, green. And so you think about that 100%, only 10% were African Americans. Of that 10%, less than 3% were Black women. And so, me as a woman in STEM who is really all about increasing that pathway, we're like, why is that? Why is that? Why is it that it's only or less than 3%? So now as we've come to 2024, that number has increased a little bit. So right now it's about 22% women in the space, but yet we still are very, very low as it relates to representation of Black women in AI. And so our goal is to really increase, that representation so that women all around, from young girls, from middle schoolers to high schoolers, recent college graduates, early career, understand why it's important for them to have a voice in the space. And it's critical. It is absolutely critical because the data that's in the system is only as good as the data that we put in. And if we're not in the space, good, bad, and different, on the ethics side, compliance side, governance side, or generative side, we're really writing ourselves out. And we don't want that to happen. So we're very passionate about making sure that we are providing access, opportunity, exposure, information about all areas of Gen AI.
Wow. So, and thank you for that. So, I think a lot of times, women of color, specifically young women of color, they don't think. Thank you for those statistics. And I think it's more so low for Black women, is because a lot of us, we don't see each other in that space. So, if a lot of times when you don't see it enough, you feel like you can't be it. So I think it's really important, especially 2024 going, forward, that it's important for young girls of color to really, really, step into that world of AI and see what it's all about and see how you can be a voice within AI, because there's a lot of biases within AI. I had a conversation with someone just recently about when you go into the ladies' room sometime and you use the soap that it doesn't recognize your color. And that's just some of the biases that's within the technology today. We need a voice. And there are men who are pursuing careers in AI, but wouldn't it be awesome to see women who are able to be that voice of the things? Because there are some things that men are just not thinking about, some things that white men are just not thinking about. So it's important for all of us to come together, that when we're programming these machine learning models that is taking everyone into account of what needs to what do we need to make sure is in there so that the biases and things like that are not present. So yeah, I think especially for women, we need a voice. So go ahead, step in, go to her website and check out, what's there, see how you can become a part of the organization. And if not you, a friend, maybe your child, your daughter. But it's just important for us to finally take that first step.
How does that fit into our capstone program?
So one of the things that we wanted to do from a capstone perspective is to partner with organizations to identify a technology need. And it is really based on the possibility. We want to make sure that those who look like us see us and we implement projects that benefit us.
That's right.
So, Dr. Maxine, we were so excited to hear about your organization, especially as women, to find an opportunity to help young women and girls because we know that we have to lift as we climb as technology professionals and we just need to advocate for each other. So having the opportunity to partner with you is an amazing gift and we are so happy to be working with you.
Thank you so much. And so, one thing that I hear a lot of us say a lot is the word program. So I'm using a different term. I'm using a term called generational investments into the lives of our young people. Because right now, this technology is really new. We're all trying to figure it out, right? And it's so many moving parts. But there's not a lot of representation, especially Black women. But who's speaking into the lives of the generation that's coming up behind us? Who's taking ownership? Who's saying, hey, we need to mentor, we need to develop, we need to provide tools and resources. So it's really going beyond the program. It's going beyond just saying, hey, we need to have more representation. It's really about who's mentoring, who's sponsoring, who's explaining, who is putting together information and helping young people understand how to get in the space. So I love what you guys are doing relative to the video series, the white paper, or whatever tool you guys decide to use to help us increase that representation. That is so important to me and the organization. And if we can get organizations like you guys to help us do that, we're going to reach far more people, even if they're not being trained, but just giving them the information and the reasons as to why they need to take up space. That's going to be critical for us.
You know what? And I think in wrapping up, listening to you, Dr. Kane, you said something very important and I think also critical. We are all learning. This is new technology. So guess what? Come aboard, learn about AI, learn with us, and together we can be great here in the future and in our future generation. Thank you.